First of all, I want to thank you for coming to Winter Yin Yoga. And I want to encourage you to thank yourselves for registering and showing up, whether you are able to join us live right now or whether you're watching this recording later, you still showed up and that counts. So I want to just start because it's a new session. We've got some new faces by just giving a really brief introduction to myself and the style of yoga. And I apologize, the weather's a little crazy around here. So if you see me look at the window, it's just because something hit the window and making sure everything's okay. So I'm Rachel. I am a yoga instructor. The class style that we're participating in through this series is predominantly yin yoga. Yin yoga is not the same as restorative yoga, although sometimes you might see them billed sort of interchangeably. It is a more relaxed, slower paced restorative style, but it is not the same thing as restorative, and it is not entirely just strictly relaxing. So it's a lot easier on a body. It's mostly mat based, so you'll there'll be very few times that we're even doing any standing poses at all. But the primary differences around yin are threefold. One is that we find what's called our edge. What that means is that we're not striving or pushing or pulling to get into the deepest version of a pose. We are finding that place at which it's maybe just a tiny bit stretchy, sticky, a little uncomfortable, and then we stay there and sort of walk that line. We're not trying to push past it. And we're certainly not trying to be in pain. A little bit of moderate, I'll call it discomfort, is the goal, if you will. Like when you get into a good stretch or a good massage and you say like it hurts so good. We're looking for that kind of like just a little bit of stretchiness. If anything feels sharp, um, painful, like anything that feels like electrical, like that's bad pain. You want to back out of the pose from there and find an easier version of it. So that's the first thing is we find that edge. The next thing is that we come to stillness. So once we've gotten our bodies into the pose at that edge, there's no movement. We find stillness, other than a little bit, and you'll hear me prompt you through this. If once we've been in a hold for a while, it's often the case that our bodies say, "Oh, look at that! There's a tiny bit more space here." So in those moments, you are welcome to and encouraged to take that extra little piece of space. Alternatively, back out if it's causing too much discomfort. But otherwise, what we want to do is find that stillness. And then the final difference in yin yoga is that we let time help us. So we'll hold the poses for much longer than you might in a different style of class. Now, I will just give you a caveat to all that is that I do often bring in a little bit of extra movement, especially at the beginning to help us get a little warmed up. So that's what yin yoga is, just so you're set up with some expectations if you've never encountered this particular style before. Really quickly, I just want to let you all know today's class was designed to not require any props. However, I would encourage you to consider obtaining a block or two, and have handy for subsequent classes a blanket or towel and some cushions. Those will just be things that help us find access in the poses without straining or stressing out our body too much. And when we get to those poses in subsequent classes, I'll guide you through and demonstrate how you might use those. Also, don't panic. I'll be putting all of this in an email with the replay. I don't expect you to remember all of this from this brief chat. So that's our business out of the way. I want to re-welcome you, welcome anyone who's joined, and get us started with the way that I normally open every class, which is to come to stillness and quiet and set an intention for our practice. So for this evening, I have brought us a little quote about breath. We're going to do a little bit of breath work in our first round. So I thought I would read this lovely quote to you, and that maybe we could all find us an intention for this evening's practice kind of connected to our breath. So, breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness, which unites your body to your thought. Whenever your mind becomes scattered, use your breath as the means to take hold of your mind again. And that quote is from Thich Nhat Hanh. So, with that in mind, I invite you to get into a comfortable seated position if you weren't already. And then go ahead and bring your eyes closed and start to let the outside world fall away. Let the day wash off your back and begin to bring your attention to your breath. At this point, we're making no effort to change our breath. Simply, we're becoming aware of our breath, possibly for the first time today, bringing our consciousness to our breathing. And as we do that, perhaps we first become aware of the sensation of air passing through our nostrils, down our throat into our lungs. Perhaps we become aware of the sensation of our muscles moving to facilitate and accommodate the expansion of our rib cage and lungs. So lovely. Our bodies breathe without us being aware all the time, thankfully. But it can be incredibly powerful to just bring your awareness back to your breath, even making no efforts to modify it. And now that we're here, with our eyes closed and aware of the sensation of breath moving in our body, I invite you to take a really big, juicy, deep breath, starting all the way from your sacrum and up, up, up. Your belly expands, your ribs expand until you can't possibly take another sip of breath in. And then, when you are at the most full, exhale with an audible sigh. Ah. And as you let that breath go, let a little more of your day go, a little more of your tension. Let's do another round like that. Really deep inhale up through your stomach. Expand your ribs up into the top of your lungs. Ah. One last time, inhale deep, deep, deep until you just can't inhale anymore, and then let out a big sigh and let your shoulders drop down at the same time. Return to your normal breathing cadence. And then go ahead and open your eyes so that you can see the demonstration of what we're going to do for a few rounds of alternate nostril breathing. What this particular breathing technique is excellent for is bringing us to a place of centered embodiment, reconnecting both sides of our brains and our bodies after a long day of working or doing whatever it is that we do with our time. We often end up having used our dominant side much more than our passive side. So this is a nice way to bring us back into alignment. So we're going to bring our hands in like a hang 10 kind of position. We're going to put our thumb on our right nostril, and we're going to use our ring finger alternately to press in the left nostril. So you're going to start with your thumb against your right nostril, and you're going to inhale through your left nostril, and then we'll hold, and we'll exhale through the right, inhale through the right, hold, exhale through the left. So now let's go ahead and begin. So get your hand ready and put your thumb in place. Empty your lungs and inhale, hold, exhale through the right nostril, inhale, hold, exhale, inhale, hold, exhale. Repeat that at your own pace for a few rounds. With each exhale, let a little more tension go. Shoulders drop a little further from your ears. With each inhale, we recommit our focus to our current experience, practice of moving meditation, mindfulness, by being entirely consumed with what we are doing in this moment. Take one more round until you have inhaled your final time on your left side and exhaled the last time on the right. Drop your hand back down to your lap. Just take a few rounds of breath normally again. And we will, from here, we'll just get a little bit of mobility into our necks. So go ahead and just drop your chin down to your chest. Inhale, look up as far as your neck allows to the ceiling. Exhale, drop your chin to your chest. Inhale, back up to the ceiling. Exhale, drop your chin. Inhale, back up to the ceiling. Exhale back to neutral, just looking straight ahead. We're going to go ahead and tip our head to our right as if our ear and our shoulder could meet, but we're leaving our shoulder dropped. We're not bringing our shoulder up to our ear, trying to bring our ear to our shoulder. Inhale your head back to center and exhale to your left. Inhale back to center, exhale to the right. Inhale back to center, exhale to the left. Inhale back to center. We're going to add some arms to this and end up holding a little bit of the tilt to the side. So go ahead and on an inhale, bring your arms up, up, up overhead. Exhale, we're going to drop our left hand down, bring our right hand to the top of our head as we let our head fall to the right. Just let your right hand rest gently on top of your head. You're not pulling your neck down. Just a little bit of extra weight helps gravity. And our left hand is coming out to the side. If you can find the floor, great. Notice perhaps how the stretch feels different in your neck if your hands come further up or come down to the floor. But the goal is that we're maintaining a straight, neutral spine up. We're not bending to either side to accommodate. So if that outreached left hand is just floating in the air, then that's okay. few more rounds of breath here. Inhale, exhale, let your hands drop down and your head come back to the center. And we'll go ahead and inhale our arms back up, 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 up. Inhale. And this time our right hand comes down to meet the ground. Our left hand finds the top of our head and just rests gently. Again, we're not pulling, just letting the extra weight of our hand help gravity out. Make sure your left shoulder is dropped and not trying to meet your ear. Your ear is trying to meet your shoulder. And again, maybe explore where the stretch feels best with the height of your right hand, if you can reach the floor. But we're trying to maintain a straight spine and just letting our neck bend to the side. So just like the quote said, anytime something gets a little difficult in our class, it becomes a little, oh, I'm not sure I can hold this any longer. Always come back to your breath, and it will help float you through. Beautiful. Go ahead and exhale your hands back down to your side. Your neck comes back to neutral in the middle. And we're gonna come on to, I'm gonna take the block out from under my bottom. We're gonna stay in the seated position with our legs crossed. If you are feeling a little tired of that, I welcome you to swap out the leg that's in front, recross your legs. And we're gonna take a revolved butterfly stretch, a revolved side stretch. So we're gonna bring our left hand to the side. Inhale our right arm up and over to the side. Your left hand can find its way further away if you have the space. Your forearm could come down. The goal is to feel this stretch along the outside of your right side body, perhaps up from your hip. Let your neck dangle if that's comfortable. If not, you can hold it up into a more neutral position. Otherwise, get that little extra neck stretch as well. And we're going to hold here. Just take a few rounds of breath. Beautiful. Go ahead and inhale. Arm comes up, body follows, arm drops down to the side. And now we're going to inhale our left arm up and over. Right arm walks away as much space as we can have. You can stay out here or you can drop your right forearm down. Your neck can be held in a comfortable neutral position, or it can take a little bit of a bend. And again, the goal this time is to feel that all the way along this left side body, getting some space up from our hips, getting a little space between the ribs. As guilty as we are of being so forward focused, we're even less side focused than we are backward focused. So while our backs often need love, our sides really get short shifted often. So some nice side stretches are really good and helpful. Go ahead and inhale, arm back up, exhale. Left arm comes down to the ground. All right. So from here, we're going to do a similar side stretch, but we're going to come with our feet together in a butterfly position. So I'll back up so you can see. So your feet are meeting sole to sole. You can have them full in closer to your body or a little further away, whatever your body is feeling is accessible this evening. From here, we're going to inhale our right arm up, and we're going to drop our left elbow into the crook of our left knee and let that left hand relax down while our right arm comes up and over like it just was. So in this version, in addition to getting the nice side stretch from the side bend, we're also getting a little bit of a micro twist, which is just really a nice way to open up some of that space, especially for those of us who sit in front of a computer a lot. Once you have found that place, you can't go any further. Settle in. We'll hold these opening poses a little shorter and lengthen as we get into the class more. Go ahead and inhale your hand up to the sky, come up to seated. Let that right hand come down, and we're going to go ahead to the other side. Inhale, left arm comes up, right elbow into the crook of the right knee. Left arm comes up and over. Once you've found that place where you can't bend anymore, settle into the stillness and let your breath carry you through. Inhale, arm comes back up, body follows, left hand drops down to the mat. Join me, if you will, on hands and knees. You want your knees to be at the same width as your hips. So just not out really far, not in super close, but just whatever neutral so that it's in line with your hips feels like. So we're hips neutral. We're going to leave our feet flat on the mat. And then we're going to bring our arms down so that our hands are directly under our shoulders. And our hands are well spaced out on the mat. Spread your fingers, get weight evenly into the pads of your fingers along here and under your thumb. And that's where you want the pressure to be, not in your actual fingertips. We're not gripping the floor. Okay, now that we've found this nice neutral position, let's take a few cat and cows. So that's going to help open our spine up. So we're going to inhale and we let our bellies drop, our head comes up, our hips come up, and our shoulders draw together. As we exhale, we round our back up to the sky like a scaredy cat on a Halloween decoration. And we push away from the floor. Inhale. Bellies drop. Chest opens, forward, head up. Exhale. Round. Spine up to the sky. Core really engages. And inhale. Keep the core engaged, but let your belly drop down, shoulders open up, really shining our hearts forward. And exhale, we round. Beautiful. From here, I'm going to have you come back into child's pose. So rest your bottom back towards your knees. And for just a brief moment, rock your hands forward, let your head come down, forehead meets the mat. Just take a little pause here for a second. Notice how the sensation of your breath feels differently while you're in this really tight little forward fold. Probably feeling it opening more across your back than you normally do while you're breathing. Beautiful. Walk yourself back just a little bit. Keep your back half where it is as much as possible so your hips are still heavy over our heels, but we are kind of sat up a little more, facing forward. And we're going to do a thread the needle. So I will demonstrate on my left side first so you can kind of maybe see a little more clearly. So from here, you're going to plant your right hand and you're going to inhale your left arm up, up, up to the sky in a nice twist. Leave your hips where they are. We're twisting from the waist up. Oh, this is not pleasant to take some deep breaths. We won't be in this phase of it very long. We're feeling some nice opening across our chest. Head is looking up at our hands in the sky. Feel the rotation through our torso. Inhale and exhale, drop your hand and you're going to scoop it down under and through your arm and bring your shoulder and ear down to the mat. I'm just going to quickly show you from the front so you can see what my arms are doing. So from here, up and through, thread the needle, right? All right, so find yourself into that forward fold. You can let your right hand and arm relax down, or you can use that right arm to maybe give yourself a little bit more leverage into the twist if it feels comfortable. Once you've found where that perfect level of comfort and discomfort is, or edge, come to stillness and breathe. Sure, your left shoulder is actively being kept away from your ear. You're not hunching your shoulder up. Again, at any point, if this is feeling painful, so sharp electrical sensations, really strong sensations, you want to back out of that. If it's just feeling like, oh, this is not the easiest thing I've done today, then that's okay. That's where we want to be. Just going to let time and gravity work for us. Doing some nice stretching, opening our shoulders, getting a nice twist in, opening some stretching along our right side body. And when you're ready, go ahead and inhale. Bring yourself back up to that middle position where we are back sat on our heels, but our hands are out in front of us and our chests are lifted, our heads are up. Take a few breaths here to reset. We're going to go ahead and do the other side. So right arm sweeps up, up, up to the sky. Gaze follows. You get a nice torso twist in. Drop your shoulders away from your ears. And really let that opening all along your raised arm across your chest. Feel that twist. Inhale and exhale. Slowly drop your arm and thread it through behind your left hand. Bring your right shoulder and ear to the mat. Again, you can really rest into this by letting your left hand and forearm come to the mat. Or you can keep your left arm a little more engaged to help facilitate the twist, if that feels acceptable. Make sure your shoulders aren't scrunching up towards your ears. And breathe. When you're ready, go ahead and inhale. Bring your right arm back in. And join me sat back on your heels. Okay. Let's do a few just nice shoulder shrugs. So go ahead and inhale your shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, up, back, down as you exhale. Take a few rounds at your own pace. Let's go ahead and reverse it. So inhale up, forward, roll, and back. Inhale up, forward, and back. A few rounds at your own pace. All right. So from here, I'm going to kind of demonstrate sitting up so you can see what it is that we're aiming for. But we're going to continue in this sort of vein of opening and stretching along our arms and opening our chests. So what we're going to do now is called crisscross shoulders. And functionally, we'll be laying forward on our bellies, but our arms are going to be crossed in front of us like this. And then we'll switch sides and we'll go like this. So come and join me on your belly. Go ahead and stretch your legs out behind you. Really take a second and press your feet, the tops of your feet into the floor. Just help stretch your legs back out after we've been in that kneeling position for so long. From here, you're going to walk your left hand to the right side of your mat and your right hand to the left side of your mat. So you're in that crisscross position, like I demonstrated, and then walk your hands as much you can, sort of directly under your shoulders. Walk your hands as far away from each other as you can get. And then let all of the tension that it took to hold yourself up to get here go, and just let yourself sink in. Let your head be heavy. I'm not worried about what it's doing. Just let the weight of it go. Really make every effort to keep your shoulders shrugged down, keep them away from your ears. This is where some of the beauty of this stretch actually is in actively pulling our shoulders away from our ears. So this is one of those places where yin is calm, but not necessarily all relaxing, feel good, because there's definitely, at least for me, some serious tension here in my shoulders. And we breathe. So part of the rationale behind the sequence this evening is an immune supporting function. So in yin yoga, what we do is we are marrying some of traditional Chinese medicine and yoga. And so we use the yoga poses to facilitate the compression and release of energy along what are known as the primary meridians. In Chinese medicine, a lot of our meridians that facilitate in our natural detoxification processes, which help support our immune system, can be found in our arms. So our lung line, but also our small and large intestines run through these parts of our arms and chest that we're working. And the twists that we're doing are helping both from a physical perspective to facilitate our digestive system's elimination, but also aiding in our liver and kidney meridians getting a nice, good wash of energy as well. All right, beautiful friends, go ahead and inhale and bring yourself up. Walk your hands back towards the middle. Take a second, just put your hands down in front of you and let your forehead rest for just a moment on top of your hands. Just a quick reset after that rather extreme shoulder stretch. And ready, go ahead, inhale. I'm going to come back up. And this time we're going to do the opposite of what you just did. So we'll walk our right hand over to the left, closer to us first. And then our left hand over top to the right side. Bring your elbows in as far as you can. Get yourself positioned. Walk your hands as far away from each other as you can. And then sink in. Let gravity pull you down. Your head get heavy. And the last adjustment is to make sure we are keeping our shoulders actively down our backs and away from our ears. And that's really where the juice in this pose is going to come in. And now that we've found our edge, we find that stillness and we let time do its work. A gentle reminder to make sure that your shoulders are actively moving away from your ears, but your head can hang heavy. And if it's feeling a little tough, but not painful, Come back to your breath and stay in it. Perhaps at this point, something has opened up and there's an extra millimeter or two of space for you to drop down further. Go ahead and take that if you have it. We'll be here just a few more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, go ahead and walk your hands back in, come out of the cross. And like before, bring your hands in front of you and just let your head rest gently on top of your hands. Hmm. From here, go ahead and flex your feet, plant your toes into the mat behind you. Get your hands under your shoulders and push yourself back into child's pose. You can let your toes uncurl. That was just to help you get back there. Now that we're here, you want your feet flat on the mat. You want to push yourself back as far as you can with your hips over your heels. You can bring your knees a little wider apart. Classically, they're kind of closer into each other, but I think it's a little bit more accessible and um, nice for what we're doing today to have your knees a little bit wider. And then if you sat up, go ahead and walk yourself back forward. We're going to take this child's pose with our hands stretched out on the mat in front of us. And we're going to let our hips be heavy, let our torsos be heavy. But we're going to actively place our hands into the mat and push into the mat to really engage arms. Roll your shoulders down and back. And find that stillness and your breath. And again, what we're looking for here is to be as relaxed as possible everywhere except we're very actively engaging our arms, pressing our palms down into the mat with our shoulders rolled back and away from our ears. You might feel some new places stretching and opening on back of your ribs as your lungs expand. You might feel this under your arms and your armpit. Wherever you're feeling it is where your body has tension to release. So if your experience isn't quite matching mine, that's perfectly normal. The important thing is that if you're in pain, that you come back out of this. Keep breathing. Nearly there. And then on your next inhale, walk your hands back towards you and come up and come to seated with your legs out in front of you on the long way in your mat. So we're going to come onto our backs now. And we're going to do some twists. So bring your arms out in a T shape to the side. Bring your feet to the mat with your knees bent, feet hip width apart. We're just going to take a couple windshield wipers, let your knees drop to one side and then the other. Just get a little bit of movement. Get ready for the deeper twist. Maybe adjust your leggings like I am if you need to. And come back to stillness. Bring your feet together and then in the middle, and then kind of bump your hips over a little bit to the left and drop your knees down to the right, scooping them up into sort of an L shape with relation to your torso. So you're trying to imagine as if your body and your legs were an L shape. And left arm, the goal is for that to be out behind you with your left shoulder dropped to the mat. You may not have that much twisting flexibility. So wherever your arm ends up is okay. Let's keep our knees on the ground. You can use your right hand to hold them in place. And then let the twist open towards the left behind you as deeply as you are able. Once you have found that deepest point, and again, remember, we are not aiming for our twistiest twist ever. We want to find just that point of stickiness, and then we're going to come to stillness. Your head can be looking towards your right, or for a little bit more of a twist, you can turn your head back to look at your left hand. Wherever you are, once you've gotten there, it's still. Come to your breath. And if by now you've gotten any extra space, I encourage you to take it. Maybe your left shoulder comes down a little closer to the mat. Two more rounds of breath here. On your next inhale, release your knees. Let them come back up to center. Put your feet down on the mat. Straighten yourself back out. And let's do a couple windshield wipers again. Knees fall to each side. We come back to stillness. Feet together in the middle. Bump your hips a little over to the right. Knees into chest and let them fall over to the left. You can use your left hand to hold them in place while we open the twist across to the right. Again, if your shoulder does not meet the mat, that is okay. We're not trying to force ourselves into something. Just get to that edge and find stillness. Your head can be neutral. You can be looking to your left, or a little bit of extra juice. You can turn your head to the right to be looking out over your extended arm. And we find our stillness and we find our breath. This side may be a deeper twist. It may be much less of a twist. It's completely normal for both sides of our body to be at different points of flexibility and tension, strength, coordination. We are primarily one side dominant. So it happens in the course of our day, our regular activities. We use our sides in different ways. And that results in different sensations when we do the same pose on both sides. That's why in yoga we do the poses on both sides to reap the full benefit, but never ever be beating yourself up because what you could do on your right side, you couldn't on your left. It's just an opportunity. It's different on each side. Twists are such a great way to support our body's natural detoxification processes. Especially now at the beginning of a new year, we often hear so much about not just goals and intentions, New Year's resolutions, but often in those are health goals that come with, I'm going to cleanse, I'm going to detox. I had so much junk through the holidays, I'm going to detox. But the truth is, our bodies are naturally primed to be detoxing all the time. And the best thing that we can really do is just facilitate their natural processes. These twists are a nice way to help our primary elimination organs, our intestines, to emphasize their natural movement in working things out through our digestive system. So when you're ready, my loves, inhale, release, and bring those knees back to center. Feet find the mat. Straighten back out. And again, we'll just do a quick little windshield wiper to either side. Just get a little reset after the stretch on both sides. And find stillness and let your feet slide out. Legs come out flat on the mat. Arms come to our sides about 6 to 12 inches out from our sides, palms facing the sky, feet relaxed. Get settled in for our final resting Shavasana. If you haven't yet, I invite you to bring your eyes closed. Get your last few wiggles out. Find stillness. And bring your attention back to your breath. And just like we did at the beginning of class, just be aware of the sensation of breath moving through your body. Perhaps notice if anything feels different after our stretching and twisting. But don't judge, don't force anything. Let your lungs expand and contract, whatever rhythm is natural for you. Leaving our attention from our breath, let your attention come to the back of your skull where your head is resting on the ground. And imagine that your head is getting infinitely heavier, heavier, sinking down into the ground. Bring that awareness down the back of your neck, let it relax, and also grow heavy. Bring your awareness to the places across your shoulders and upper back where they're meeting the mat. Let them relax and get heavy into the ground. Release any tension that may remain, holding yourself in whatever shape you feel like you're supposed to be in. Let it go. Let gravity sink you in to the ground. Bringing our attention down to our mid back. Let it relax and feel heavy, as if our spine could sink all the way down to the ground. Bring your attention to the back of your hips, sacrum, and let that grow heavy. Let go of any holding, gripping, tension. Let gravity pull any remaining stress away. And let your hips be heavy and supported by the ground. Relax the back of your thighs. Let them be heavy and sink towards the ground. Relax your knees. And don't try and push them or pull them down, but let that relaxation become heaviness, as if your knees too could melt into the ground. Bring your awareness to the place where your calves and heels are meeting the ground, and let them grow heavy. Release any tension, any holding, and let your legs and feet sink deep, deep into the ground. Let your whole body be heavy, weighted, and relaxed into the ground, as if you could turn into a puddle and let the ground hold you. Come back to your breath. and just be. Slowly begin to bring awareness back to your body and the space that it's in. Bring some movement into your fingers and toes, a few wiggles. Keep your eyes closed. And when you're ready, eyes still closed, roll to whichever side feels comfortable. And find yourself back in a seated position. Take one final moment with your eyes closed to check in with yourself, with your breath. Thank your breath for being an anchor through your practice and throughout all of your day, whether you noticed it or not. Go ahead and gently open your eyes. As you work your way off of your mat this evening and through the week, remember the power that your breath has to bring you into the present moment, to find stillness, gratitude, peace, and awareness. Thank yourself for showing up tonight. I thank you. Namaste, and have a beautiful evening. We'll see you next week.